The Chapman Show. I'm your host, Joel Chapman, aka The Little Juggernaut. And as always, I want to have a good show, a good podcast, and the biggest heart premieres in history. Today, I'm going to be interviewing Josh Burns. He's a heavyweight fighter, very good guy. He fought Chris Searles, got a very big win over him in Biloxi, Mississippi. I was actually there taking photos. I'm very close with Chris. I'm very close with Josh. So, here we go. Give it up for Mr. Josh Burns. All right, what's up, Josh? How are you doing?
Doing good, bro. Yourself?
I'm doing great. I'm doing great. Now, I got the opportunity to see you fight in Biloxi, Mississippi. It was amazing. You fought Chris Searles.
Correct.
Now, I'm not gonna lie to you. Of course, you know I didn't know who you were at that time. I didn't even know that you were a Michigan guy. So I just didn't know. I didn't know. I know you could tell from the pictures, like I didn't know what was going on. So you were like the underdog. How did it feel to get that win?
Well, I mean, it was fine. It was what it was. We knew it was going to happen. The thing is everyone in this sport, they're all babies out here in America. Everyone's babies. All these guys on these podcasts, and ain't nobody know anything about the sport. They've been doing it for 3 years, 4 if they're lucky. I was in Europe for the last 5 years doing this before it even became legal here. So I was more adept to the game than anybody here. So coming into it, the fun part was most people didn't know who I was, like you, and all the Europeans knew who I was. I was ranked number 1 and fought for the world title over there. And coming into the game, that was just the fun part. And then getting an individual like Sorrow that very very new to the game, doesn't know really what he was doing, and had a lot of hype behind him. It was just fun. It was just fun to come in there and just watch all these people. And then, Dave and I, Feldman and I, we've been friends for about 7 years. So he's known me, and I signed with him before I even went to the UK. It's just, he ran in so many roadblocks, before this show, or before he could get his on the, up and going. And I decided not to sit idle. I could have fought for Bellator again, but I decided that, that was more of a hobby. This was a passion. I really enjoyed bare knuckle fighting. So I decided to go to the UK, back to the originators, the ones that started it. And, it's been going on for hundreds of years over there, and learned some tricks, get my feet wet, and really enjoyed it and had a great time.
That makes sense. Okay, because when I Googled you, I always do my homework on everything. You had like eight bare knuckle fights. I'm like, how did he even have that many fights? So that makes sense. That okay, I didn't know that they even had it in Europe before they had it kind of going on here.
Oh yeah, no, it was definitely going on there. And I actually had 10 fights in Europe. I had a bad the BKB is the company that I used to fight for in Europe, and they just like the American market. And when I decided to leave, in the greatest thing, it's not my word versus theirs. It's all about action and proof. So coming over here, the reality was I was 6-2-2, and there's 2 no contests, and the reality is I had 10 fights. And when I decided to sign with BKFC, these guys took down all my wins, only put up the 2 real losses, and the 2 that looked like losses, but they were considered by the medical staff after I had got poked in the eye. And then on one fight, I got cut with a fingernail about 30 seconds in with Tony Johnson. And so anyways, at the end of the day, they decided to report it to BoxRec that I was 4-4 and this, that, and they're like, and if you do your due diligence, I fought for the world title over there against Mickey Terrell, who is the lineal number 1 heavyweight champion in the world, like above Joey Beltran, above anybody here. And when I fought him, my record was correct. And so they decided to do that. And so a lot of people that did try to do their due diligence looked me up. They're like, oh, this guy's, like Sam Shoemaker, God bless his little heart. Like, he just thinks that I'm a gatekeeper and this and that. And yeah, it's cool, man. Keep telling yourself that. But at the end of the day, I have a 100% KO ratio, a finish ratio of 100%. And I've knocked every person out of all my victories. All 7 victories are under 3 minutes. And this is just a sport I love. So it was fun. As far as the Sorrow thing, it was fun. And, you get the pretenders like a Sorrow that think that they're about it. These boys, there's a lot of guys that they think they're about bare knuckle, and you've been there personally. So it is a different sport. This is not MMA. It's not boxing. It's not Muay Thai. It's not kickboxing. It is bare knuckle boxing. So, and once you get hit with a bare fist, bone on bone, it's a will check for a lot of people. And you can talk all the shit you want in the world, but until you actually prove that you can take a hit, and endure through that pain, I don't got a lot of respect for a lot of people that run their mouths in this sport. You know what I'm saying?
That makes sense. Now, out of curiosity, because like I was watching everything. I even took pictures and everything. I was doing pictures. When you knocked Sorrels down, you were like, "Fuck you," blah 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 blah. Well, I was like, "Whoa!" I was just like, "Damn!" It must have been some bad blood. So like what was that all about? Like, were you just pissed off at him? Were you pissed off at everybody else talking shit?
No. Hey, it was a blessing. I talked to Dave and Nate. They bring me in. I was supposed to fight Sam. Supposed to fight Sam Shoemaker, and we had 3 separate times where we were supposed to meet. And the first time got shut down. We both showed up for the fight. Kansas shut it down. We were supposed to fight 2 more times, and it didn't happen. And then the last time, Sam got COVID, I guess the week of the fight. So it just didn't happen. And that's when they offered me Sorrow, because they were just like, look, it just doesn't look like this fight's ever going to happen. There's just things are just not coming together. So they gave me the Sorrow. And as far as the Sorrow thing, I didn't know who he was. And, he, I don't know. It's just different. I'm a veteran of the sport of combat sports, man. And, until we fight, I don't really give a shit about you. What I'm saying? I'm not trying to be your boy. I'm not trying to be your friend. And Sorrow had reached out to me, sent me like artwork and graphics and like, hey, I just made this last night. I'm not friends with him, mind you. So he like sent me not even a friend request, just trying to message me. So I have to go into these message requests. And I was like, okay, cool, man. Looks cool. Respect, and then he's like, oh, and it's an honor to share the ring with you and this, that. And like, cool, thumbs up. That's it. And I was asked in a interview, about a week later, if I knew who he was. I'm like, no, I don't know who this dude is. I said, but they go, have you ever talked to him? I'm like, well, he did reach out to me. And I said, he sent me this graphics and stuff and like trying to be my buddy and like, oh, it's an honor. And I said, I'm old school, bro. I'm not about that. Like, and don't get me wrong, there's a lot of guys that do that, but I'm not that guy. I'm old school. So until we're done, until I knock your ass out, I'll be your friend, buy you a beer after the fight. But until then, don't try to be my boy. Don't reach out to me, because that kind of a bitch move. And you're kind of tilting your hand like you're a little bit something's up. That's my opinion. Right or wrong, I don't give a fuck. That's how I look at it. And I said it, and it wasn't a dog on him. It's just like, not something I would do. Anyways, long story short, he ended up, I guess he got really offended, and he sent me a message. I'll send it to you through Facebook. And it was filled with profanity and about him. It's not going to go the way I think it's going to go, and he's going to walk over my dead corpse, and called me I'll just send it to you. He just said some derogatory statements. And at that point I laughed. I'm like, okay, it is what it is. And then once he started putting personal stuff, my personal life, up on his profile that was publicly seen, I got 10 kids. Some of my baby girls started seeing that. Now you fucking with my family. Now you talking shit about my family, because you fuck with my family. I never talk shit. I'm like, bro, you put personal information that has nothing to do with the fight game, and you start posting that up on your social media, and then my daughters happen to see it because your shit's open, and I don't cruise it, but my kids are kids. They're gonna see who dad's fighting, that kind of thing, and they get affected by it. They're emotionally fucked up with it. I'm like, all right, bet. Now you just took it to a new level. And as a man, if we were in the street and you did this shit, I'd square up with you right there. But it's cool. I'll be professional. This is also the guy that demanded security. We're going to fly in the same flight. He literally would not get in the same limousine as myself because he wanted security. And I don't know if it's because he thought he was a tough guy. I have no idea. But you had all this shit revving up. And I got Mark Coleman with me, and Coleman saw everything. He's like, yo, JB, just be cool. You'll take it out on him in the ring. Bet. Got you. Hell, I even saw him on the plane. He walked off the plane after me, and Susan, I forget her last name, she's an interviewer. She was talking to me and talking to my coach and Coleman, and then old boy tried to walk by. She starts talking to him like, oh, you guys are gonna fight. And I didn't say anything. I didn't say anything disrespectful, nothing. His coach patted me in the chest, and it was cool. Left it at that. But at the weigh-ins, Mark Coleman had just come off having a heart attack, like 5 weeks prior. And
Yeah.
I was back there, and I didn't say shit to him. I didn't say nothing. Yeah, I was not in the best cosmetic shape, as far as my aesthetics. But that's just because I was told I had to do certain things at not in the last minute, but going into something. So I wasn't able to do my normal workout. I was all worried about just dropping weight. And I kind of got in a funk stage. My body's in a funk stage about 65 to 55. I've gotten that, transition stage between being trim and ripped up and then just being bigger. So I can't be bigger and muscular if I'm not lifting and doing my normal routine. So anyways, long story short, it's not an excuse. It is what it is. I just did not look the normal Josh Burns from what you could look at any of my other fights. And so anyways, at the end of the day, we're back there weighing in, and this dude literally goes, like, we weighed in. I didn't say anything. I just got my stuff, walked away. And this is when we're doing the real weigh-in before the mock weigh-in on camera. And he's like, I'm gonna knock you the fuck out. And I'm like, I heard it, but I didn't say shit. I just walked away. But Coleman, I saw Mark, and now people, if you know Mark, man, Mark don't play. I'm Hammer House, man. Hammer House don't play. And he just started. I just saw Mark just kind of square up and started. He was going to say something to him. And mind you, Chris Sarr was being a fanboy, like waving across the arena to Mark. Oh my God, it's Mark Coleman. Oh. And it was like a joke. We were laughing about it. Like, yo, your boy, you're going to fight. He's like a fanboy. Like, all right, cool. But he says that. Mark's about to say something. I'm like, and then I just go, okay, that's cool. I heard you. No big deal. And then Mark let it go. We go out to weigh in. And most of the public only saw what this kid did at the weigh-in. At the weigh-in, we walk up. The first thing out of his mouth is, I ain't afraid of you. You don't scare me. Well, I'm old school. If the first thing come out your mouth is you say you ain't scared, bitch, you are scared. So it is what it is. And then I'm like, cool. All right. He's still running his mouth. And he's like, it's going to be a fight. I go, hope so. I turn to look to the crowd, do the pose. He's like, hope so, hope so. And he's like basically talking to himself. You can see it right on the camera. And I said, look, and he wouldn't shut up. So I'm like, look, we'll just see how long your chin holds up. That's it, bro. Turn around, pick my shit up. He's still running his mouth as I'm walking away. Well, the commissioner, the guy, the Mississippi guy, that's a commissioner guy there, I guess they're friends. So them two idiots were fucking laughing, him and Sorrow. And Sorrow was looking for like what I would consider like justification or clarity, like, you know, oh, that he's doing something right. And that guy's laughing with him. Dave Feldman ain't saying shit. I'm walking away. He's standing by himself in his fucking jorts. You know, who the fuck wears jorts nowadays? You know what I'm saying? What are we, 70s, bro? So I walk away. I'm like, bet, cool. Then obviously fight night, it was what it was. And like I said, I kept it professional the entire time, which I'm sure you were there first. I never said anything bad. I kept it professional, but it's like taking a cork out of a bottle. Take that cork out, you can't put that shit back in. And once it popped out, hell yeah, I got over the top. And thank God, damn Murgotti's like one of my boys, because I could have got in trouble for you know, being over the top of him. But all I did is get over the top and just, you know, I know he wasn't there, but it's still like, where you at, motherfucker? Then I get up, go back, you know, and I'm hyped. So, and it's hard to bring that down. And then Dan's over there, he's like holding the ropes, like, oh, what happened? You know. And then I ran up, you know, where you at, motherfucker? And then, you know, double flip. Kind of a little much, kind of looked like a little bit of a douchebag. But at that moment, when your emotions are going, you don't know me, but if you look at any of my fights, you did your due diligence. I'm not that guy. I don't talk shit. I'm not that cat. But you brought my family into it. You brought my personal life into it. You didn't keep it about boxing. I said you were a bum. He calls himself Golden Gloves. I mean, I'm not trying to go in on a sorrow roast here, but at the end of the day, I got 3 Golden Gloves. I got 2 silver gloves. This is when they had silver gloves. I only won locally with my Golden Gloves. Why? I would never disrespect Golden Gloves and say I'm the Golden Gloves. Now, if I was a national Golden Gloves champion, you got something. But even national Golden Glove guys have more class, and they're not going to call themselves Golden Gloves. You know what I'm saying? You can just tell this cat just never had any experience. And if you can look at this shit up, how he got his Golden Gloves win, if some little part in Maine where there was nobody at the tournament, there was no heavyweight, he had to bump up the super heavyweight. I don't know the guy he fought, but it's on YouTube. It's not a great fight. It's a lackluster fight. He won the decision. And then the motherfucker has the audacity to call himself Golden Gloves. I'm Golden Gloves Sorrow. All right, bro. Cool. Drink your own Kool-Aid. It's okay. But you're going to get fucked up. And that's just how I felt. So when the fight was over, it was kind of hard to bring it down. You know, then obviously Coleman knew everything. You heard Coleman, Coleman, you were there. Coleman was louder than I was. Like, what? You know, because we knew all the shit that they had talked. And the bad thing was his coaches and his team, his management, they knew what he was doing and they didn't say shit. They didn't tell him to back it off. They didn't say, yo, that's crossing the line. Like, they're just unprofessional themselves. But then again, you look who he's with, like it's a stable of a bunch of guys that lose. So that's cool. You can hype your boys up, but if you can't win, you don't mean shit. So, and I'm sorry, I don't mean to go off on a tangent, but you want to know the truth. And I've never really broke it down like this for anybody. So you're the first person I broke it down. I'll send you the the voice shit that he sent, but I will 100%. I'll send that to you. And you'll understand. You'll see like the lack of professionalism and lack of character. So that was why the craziness after the fight. Sorry for the long-winded.
Oh no, you fine, because I mean, I was just there as a fan and as a journalist. You know what I mean? So and like I knew Chris. I didn't know you. I didn't even know you were a Michigan guy. So when I seen everything, like, I mean, I didn't know that you had all those bare knuckle fights overseas. I didn't know anything. You know, I just and it's so crazy because me and we know like pretty much all the same people. Like I was Michigan's MMA champion for a long time as an amateur, so we know all the same people. Mark Coleman, I have Mark Coleman. I paid for him and Seth to come to one of my events as celebrity guests. So Mark is my dude. He doesn't remember me. He never remembers me when I see him, but he's still my dude. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, Mark's good.
So when I actually like met you like on Facebook, I had to ask that question. I'm not. I mean, me and Chris are cool.
Yeah,
Chris, this is not attacking. This isn't an attack against Chris. So I hope he doesn't get mad at me. But I'm a journalist. I'm asking questions. So I get it,
same thing, bro. Like, it's cool. Like he's been good to you. That's cool. Be cool with him. I have a good friend, Bobo. Bobo's friends with him, and Bobo's friends with me. And my biggest thing is like, look, until someone does, and this is how I feel, until they do you wrong personally, don't allow the way they treat other like me to eschew your opinion of the guy. Form your own opinion. So you've known him, you're friends with him, cool. My opinion is what I have, and it'll forever be what it is. And now I'm not very it's not a very Christian like approach for me, but to be honest with you, I'm not going to turn the other cheek. If I see the guy, I'm not going to go out of my way to clown on him, but I don't think I have to. I made a human highlight reel out of him after I took 16 months off. I bounced his head off the ground like a basketball, and he's a human highlight reel and a meme, a trending meme, you know what I'm saying? So it is what it is. So my beef with him, because he brought it in my family and did it personal, that's just something that I'm going to hold on to. So, and I mean, the guy he was calling me out and all the other heavyweight division guys the other night on another podcast. And I had like 7 people. Oh, you need to turn this on. Chris Saros, talking shit. I'm like, get the hell out of here. So I turned on, and sure enough, this guy's like, well, he got me with the good one, but I wasn't like out. I wasn't out. I mean, I got right up, and I just was like, oh, what happened? Like, bro, dude, you live in a delusional world. And if you stay at heavyweight, I'm not the only heavy hitter in the heavyweight division. It's going to be a bad night for you, because everything I've seen from him, his 2 wins are against guys that shouldn't have even been fighting. Let's just be honest. One showed up for a payday, and the other guy's really a 185-pounder. And that's just the reality. The other guy's a Michigan guy that I know that didn't like getting hit in MMA. The fuck you doing in BKB, bro? What are you doing getting hit with bare knuckle? And he didn't even get knocked out. He just sat on his ass. He was like, yeah, I'm done. He just sat, waited, 10 count, stood up. Okay, I'm done. So that's more what I consider a paycheck. So like a paycheck fighter. And, it's no disrespect to him. This is just not the same. This is not the sport for everyone. And, this guy put his, hat on thinking that he was like some badass. And I'm like, bro, you haven't fought nobody. Now you fought someone. I took a round to feel you out and realized that, I was probably taking too long, because if you watch the fight, Coleman yelled at me in the corner. He's like, bro, he's like, JB, what are you doing? Throw your fucking hands. And then literally second round starts. Chris wouldn't even put his foot on the line. Like, he didn't put his foot on line. And then you hear Coleman go, JB, let's go. As soon as he says it, threw a triple jab, bop, bop, bop. He went straight back like an amateur, a straight line. I threw a little half jab, threw a 3, and then the 2. I think the 3 actually had him out, and the 2 was just kind of like a little extra, So that's what it is.
I get you. That makes sense.
Yeah.
So it sounds like you have like a lot more experience than even I knew that was even possible. Like I said, this is an awesome interview because I'm actually learning stuff. I didn't know that it was like big in the UK before it like came over to America recently. I knew, I mean, back in the day there was like bare knuckle fights, but I didn't know there was anything so recent. And you fought like the champ. I mean, I'm not calling Joey Beltran not the champ. You know what I mean? He's the champ in America.
Yeah.
But actually, speaking of that, I seen an interview, and you seen that I said that I wanted to get an interview with you because of what he said, and he was like, Joey was pretty much calling the whole heavyweight division out, and he mentioned your name very specifically. Yeah. So you just got a very, very big win. People definitely know who you are. So, is Joey Beltran something that you want? Like, what's your next step right now?
Well, yeah, no, of course. Joey and I both want to fight each other. It's a respectful thing. I only want to fight the best. He only wants to fight the best. Due to a hiccup because of Godbeer, catching COVID and Bobo stepping in to fight Sam, Bobo would tell you the same thing. Bobo had a flat fight and just pretty much just stood there and let Sam just tee off on him. So really wasn't much of a fight. But Sam was ranked 4. See, that's the thing a lot of people forget is that the real rankings is the Police Gazette rankings, and they had Godbeer at 1. Or I'm sorry, Joey Beltran's 1, obviously the champion. Godbeer's ranked number 2. I was ranked number 3. Shoemaker was 4. Sorrow was 5. Bobo, I believe, was 6 or 7. And so Sam fought somebody who was a lesser ranked guy than mine. I had a more of an impressive win, in my opinion, in a lot of people's opinions. And but because Sam was in the right place at the right time, and Dave was not going to put me in with Sam, they wanted to, but because of everything that Sorrow had done, he wasn't going to disrespect me and not allow me to, avenge what I would consider, to get a little bit of payback on the guy, knocking his ass out. So Bobo got pulled up. It just made an easier transition. He wins. So now Sam gets to fight. But if you think about it, it doesn't really matter. At the end of the day, we had a Final Four type scenario. Godbeer, Shoemaker, Beltran, Burns. That was your Final Four. So I want to fight Beltran. Sure, I'll fight Sam too, but I don't think Sam's number 1. And I honestly, yeah, any heavyweight's got a puncher's chance, but I think Joey beats him. And that's not disrespecting to Sam. It's just, I just think Joey's a student of the game. He's intelligent. He fights smart. And he has that intangible that most heavyweights don't have, which is that crazy ass gas tank. And he can also take a hit, like you can hit him with a Mack truck and he's not going to stop. A lot of that has to do with, the condition as well. So yeah, to answer your question, yeah, I want to fight Joey. I've been doing, we've been getting this hashtag Burns versus Beltran, and Joey was digging it. I was digging it. And, no matter what happens, they pulled me from the March card and put me on the April card, the same card that's going to be with, Sam and Joey. And I mean, they straight up told me if anything happens to Sam and he pulls out or gets hurt or anything happens, Lord forbid, I want Sam to have a great camp and have a great fight. So, but if something were to happen, I'm the mandatory fill-in and I am the next guy for the title shot, but I'm also not going to sit idle. So they're going to allow me to fight. So no matter what happens, I'm going to knock out, it don't matter. I'll knock out whoever they put in front of me. And, the real fight, in my opinion, besides Joey would be Godbeer. And Mark and I, we've known each other since the UK. We've wanted to fight before and it just never happened. So now it looks like Mark's coming back. I don't know if I'm going to get that fight. It's what I want. I mean, I've expressed that to Dave and Nate and Mark. He's done the same thing. I think that's the best fight besides the Joey and Sam fight. It'll solidify the Final Four, the top 4. Now you got a lot of young bucks and I don't mean young like they're young, but I'm saying guys are newer to the sport, like a Kleckler and some other guys. But I mean, these guys have fought nobodies. Like they're just starting, and it's no disrespect to them. They've got to prove themselves. So with that being said, I think the smart fight would be if I don't get to fight Joey and Sam's healthy and does fight, Mark and I should fight and be on the same card. And the winner of us, whether it be Mark or myself, that's the guy that goes in the ring and challenges the winner out of Joey and Sam.
Wow. That is crazy. It's so much going on in BFKC, and like a majority of people, because I got so many fighters on my friends list now. I see so much. I'm like, oh my God, I see so much calling out, so much shit. I love it, because at the end of the day, you guys are going to fight. You guys are going to fight. So out of curiosity, the competition, and I'm pretty sure if it originated from the UK, the competition level is probably a lot higher than it is here. Where would you gauge it from the UK to America as of right now?
To be honest with you, I don't think the depth is as deep in the UK. I think the UK fighters are more adept to the actual fight itself because they're not like Americans where, travelers and Europeans, like if you have a scrap, they don't have guns and stuff like that. They're going to literally say, hey, let's do, I think they call them straighteners over there. One guy comes up with 1,000 pounds, the other guy's got 1,000 pounds or whatever the dollar amount would be. They put it down, they throw down bare knuckle, That's what it is. Winner takes the money. They shake hands when they're done, and it's over. But these guys have been doing this, since they're kids. And, maybe back in the 50s, America was like that. But, I think we've gone away from that. So,
Yeah.
our society's, as I say, pussified a little bit because you got a lot of these idiots out here with guns and, thinking they're tough guys. And that's just my opinion. So as far as UK, I can tell you right now, there's one undeniable fact. And Joey Beltran, like I said, is a student of the game, and he knows this. Mickey Terrell is the number one guy in the world. Now, Joey Beltran is the number one guy in the US. Mickey Terrell is the number one guy in the UK. I still think that Mick, because Mick is 6-0, and he's held this title longer, and he's done this longer than anybody here, including myself. He's the lineal champion. Now, Mick's got to come. I know they're in contracts and conversation and getting them over here. I know that's going to happen. So I would love my rematch with Mickey, but I need to make sure that I can take care of, what's in front of me first. And that is Joey Beltran, Sam Shoemaker, Mike Godbeer. So those three I need to get, off the list, however it works, So if Sam and Joey fight, the only fight I want, the only fight that makes sense is Godbeer Burns. Now that's the toughest fight for me. You could throw a Kleckler or another unknown guy, have good names, but at the end of the day, and it's not disrespect these guys. These guys have not proven themselves. They look great. Like Kleckler looked amazing in his last fight, but he also fought a turd. So, and it's fact. So, and I know, in my opinion, especially in this sport, you need to have time where you can prove yourself. Kleckler fight, I believe Tate, his very first fight, and Tate's a solid guy, but I don't think he's a top tier contender. And I think that, throwing Kleckler in the top, 5 right off the rip, I think it's going to be, I'm not saying he couldn't hang because he's a great fighter. It's just there is levels to this, and you need to progress yourself through it. Don't do what Asaro did, be down in the bottom of the bucket, beat 2 guys that shouldn't have been in the ring with you, and then jump right up in the top 3, and then you get starched. You know what I'm saying? So there's a process in this. And I know Dave and Nate, they're smart, but they're also about money. So whether fights make sense. And to be honest with you right now, I think the Godbeer fight brings a lot of attention. I think more people are realizing who I am. Like I said, you can't look me up now because, the BKB guys are just sour, and they took down all my wins, and they only put up those 4 losses. And that in itself, I don't even need to, argue a bunch because it's proof in the pudding. That shows that their lack of character, their immaturity, that they took down my wins and then they report false records just to tarnish me. So cool, no problem. I'll do my work here. So Godbeer and I should be is technically the biggest fight, and to be honest with you, on a Joey Beltran Sam Shoemaker fight, I believe the Godbeer Burns fight would have probably more hype, just because I don't give a shit. I'm constantly told by the big guys at BKFC that Sam Shoemaker's this, Sam Shoemaker's that. Like, bro, God bless him, he's a nice guy, but my knockout is trending at 2 million already on TikTok, and that's after the Knuckle Mania. So go look up, Sam. Like, oh, you had a big knockout of Eric Prindle, 3 years ago, 4 years ago, whatever it was. And let's be honest, Eric's like my brother. I love Eric. But Eric and I would both sit down and be very honest and say, okay, his last 5 fights going into that in MMA, he got knocked out, and every knockout was worse. Like, he really got hurt when he fought Paul Bonatello. He really got knocked out bad. And going into bare knuckle is even worse because you're going to get it's not a repetitive thing, but it's more of a blunt, bone on bone. And so when he got knocked down, Eric rolled over, went to get up, and that's not a huge accomplishment. And Eric's my brother, and he's a great fighter. But every fighter has a shelf life. And I just think Eric's shelf life was done for getting hit in the chin. So the fact that Sam really holds on to that, and that was a big highlight knockout, great. Well, that was 3 years ago when this shit first started. Now you're taking a guy like Sam, who they claim, oh, he broke the punch meter, all this shit. Man, that don't mean dick. Go to the fairground, a guy like you, who's not my size, it's not a disrespect to you, but you're smaller than me.
I'm a lot smaller, yes.
You hit that pad at the fairground, you hit 900 pounds.
I can, actually, yes.
Okay, my dumb ass hits it, I never can get over 600. I never hit over 600. So are you honestly telling me that you're going to hit harder than me? No,
No.
it is just it's a game, bro. It's a game, and just because you hit a thing right and this and that, I go off the body of work. So at the end of the day, I have 100% finish ratio, 100% KO, and all under 3 minutes. Then you take a guy that claims that he hits hard, and he literally got the one knockout, and then he has split decision wins and squeaks by. I think he lost to Maurice Jackson, who's a good friend of mine. I think Maurice Jackson beat him. That's why you can't find the fight anywhere, because it's really that bad of a decision. Maurice beat him, but he gets a split decision win against Maurice. And then he gets more split decisions, more to split, then he loses. And it's like, bro, then you beat Bobo, who just kind of, and you were there for that fight. Bobo just wasn't there. Like, I was backstage, he was in my room. Bobo just wasn't of the right same mind. He was kind of cloudy, and it happens. And it's not taken away from Sam's win, because he won, he did good. But it does say something about your opponent. If your opponent's just not there, you didn't get the best Bobo. You know,
Actually, I just interviewed Bobo, actually, ironically. And yeah, it's weird that you said that. And he said that he pretty much wasn't all there, and he said that he let him get a free shot, and he said he shouldn't have did that. He said, he's like, when you fight in heavyweight, he's like, there are no free shots, especially in bare knuckle. He's like, you just don't do that. And then this is something I got to ask you too. I mean, he kind of broke it down to me, because I did MMA and I did boxing. I did pro boxing. I did both as a pro. You know what I mean? Yep. And me personally, I got way more tired in boxing. You know what I mean? Right. And it felt like the punches were harder. So with that being said, how does it translate from boxing to MMA to actual bare knuckle? Like, how does it feel? It felt, to me personally, I got a lot more tired boxing, and it felt like the punches were harder. Like, can you translate like the difference between the sports?
Yeah, well, it's very simple. You just said it in your own words. So MMA, where you might not feel like it's as hard, is because you have multiple weapons at your disposal. So for me being a puncher, you watch all my MMA fights, Bellator and everything. Guys would never want to punch with me. Immediately want to grab, hang, shoot, do all that good stuff. So you have other avenues to avoid being struck just by punches. Now, also MMA, you got shins and elbows. Everyone's like, oh, but you get shins and elbows. Yeah, but what do you get? 2 or 3 elbows in a fight, maybe a couple shins? You don't get that on your head all the time. Bare knuckle, it's from the rip. You're getting bone-on-bone contact right from the very first punch. Now, as you said with boxing, you felt like the punches were harder. You got more fatigue. Well, the bottom line is fatigue makes coward out of any man. So as soon as you start getting tired, you know as well as I do as being a fighter, as soon as you become tired, everything seems to hurt more. Everything seems to move you more. Things that didn't hurt you in the beginning, a couple rounds, all of a sudden you're getting hit with that same soft jab. You're like, oh my God, like you get feeling your head move. You're like, oh, because you're tired. It's not that you can't take it. Your body's so fatigued, everything's impact is doubled. So with bare knuckle, it is 100 times worse if you were to be fatigued. But right from the rip, you're getting bone on bone. You're getting that jar. And I always say it, and there's guys like, oh, you don't even feel it. The fuck if you don't. I don't know what kind of crap they're trying to sell, but bone on bone, it feels like an electric. I said it on my ESPN interview. It's the same thing I told them. It's literally feels like you stick your finger in a light socket and you get that electric shock down your arm. If you hit right, you're not breaking anything, but you get that shock, that feeling like boom. You're like, damn, like it felt good, but it also is like, it makes you aware, like, damn, this is bone on bone. Like I'm hitting something hard. And I just believe that this is more of a, with bare knuckle is more of a gut check, more of a heart thing, and that's something you can't teach. That's something you cannot teach. That's something that's either in you or it's not in you. And when I was over in the UK, obviously I seen a lot of big name guys that came over, get hit once or twice, take a knee. They weren't even hurt, but they were just, they didn't like the way it felt. They were like, this isn't worth whatever the 5,000 pounds or whatever they're paying me, and I'm done. So it's the same thing with this sport. Like I said, when I say that, okay, cool, you're 2-0, but you really never been hit. And you sure as hell haven't been hit by a top tier fighter that's proven themselves. So all these fighters, very rare. Like now, you do see some clean knockouts. Like when I knocked Sorrow out, the only reason he got up so quick is because I stood over the top of him and taunted him for a good few seconds. And then Mergulite throws me. It's about 6 or 7 seconds before he actually gets the count going. So, and then he still gets the count. And then Chris Lytle goes, oh, that might have been a mistake by Joe. Oh, never mind. Because he allowed Chris to come to, try to get up, and he was still fucked. So, at the end of the day, you don't see a lot of that. You see more of people quitting. And this is my opinion, but it's a fact. Like, guys quit in this sport because it is a heart check. You either got it or you don't have it. Bottom line. So, and as you start to progress in this game, it starts to unfold, I should say. You're going to start separating, as I say, separate the men from the boys or the women from the girls. Like, you're legit going to find the people that you can hit with a bat in the head, and they're just going to keep coming, and that's not just because they're tougher or whatever. It's hard. It's something that's built into, you're born with it. It's not something you can learn. You know what I'm saying? So, in my opinion, that's the biggest difference with this is, boxing, bare knuckle boxing, you only have two tools. That's it. You can't relate to, what I'm saying? Here they allow you to dirty box, which is nice, but the reality is you're still boxing. So, and you're bone on bone.
Now, at the last event, I was at Knucklemania. I did like made a table for the event, had like a whole bunch of people sign it, but I got stuck at the venue, and and I helped them tear down, which was a little crazy. And when I was tearing down the ring, I stayed till like 4:00 in the morning. And when I was tearing down the ring, like, I didn't know that the actual ropes are metal. I was like, holy shit. Mm-hmm. So with that being said, most people don't know that. I only know that because it was some metal ring and they were like, he's like, get the ropes. I'm like, fuck, those are the ropes? I didn't know how hard it was going to be or anything. Now, how do you prepare for something like that? Like, have you been knocked against the ropes? Have you knocked somebody against the ropes? What is it like? Like, is it like fighting a cage? I mean, how does that feel?
I ran Sorrow into the ropes, and the great thing is there's just not a lot of give. So when you hit it, it's like run. To me, it's kind of maybe like wall work. It's like wall work, and very rare you're gonna see me have my ass on the wall or my ass on the cage or or on the ropes. So it doesn't really affect me much. And then when I'm able to drive someone into it, there's not much give. Matter of fact, I don't think there's any give, to be quite honest, unless you go through them. So you pen people up against it. There's in my fight with Sorrow in the first round, like I said, I'm knocking off 16 months of ring rust and just trying to get, fluid. And at the end of the day, you have to respect. So I was warned that Sorrow hit so hard and all this. And even though my pride sits here and tells me like he's a bitch, you don't hit hard, I still have to respect him until he proves that he don't hit. And, a lot of people are like, oh, well, he hit you a couple of times. Like, honestly, at that point, I realized like, okay, you don't hit like a heavyweight. You're not hitting. There's some middleweights I train with that pop me a lot harder. And at that point, that's when I started like trying to get in the firefight, but it was already like 30 seconds to the end of the round. And I ran him up on the ropes a couple times. And the great thing is when I run him up on it, if they're weak, like he was a lot physically weaker than myself, like physically he was weak. And when I pinned him up against the wall, he couldn't move. He legit couldn't move. And it took Dan having to break us up because my fat ass, I'm just like, all right, bet, I'll hold you right here, let you make all those little noises. And then when he's done playing his little game, I threw one or two. But when I hit him, he didn't want to hit no more in the clinch. He just wanted to hold. So, and the great thing about the ropes is there's no give. So if I'm a dominant, I wrestle collegiately. So if you have a good base, you can pin these fools up against these steel ropes. They ain't gonna go nowhere, and you can have liberties on them. So it's a good thing. I think it's a great thing.
Yes, it's definitely a whole different sport when you add all those variables. When you add the clinch, you boxing somebody bare knuckle. It just seems savage. That's why I love it, though. That's why I love it. Now, for example, earlier in the interview, you were talking about, you got the UK champ. You got the American champ. Do you think that they're going to unify the belts? And another thing I need to ask kind of about that is because they have a couple of different bare knuckle organizations. I don't know. I only follow BKFC. That's the only one I follow. Now, is it a different organization that he's a linear champion, or is it actually BKFC? Because I know BKFC, they have events in Thailand. I didn't know. Yeah. I don't know if it's like. Can you kind of break that down? The whole system. I don't know.
Yeah. So when I started, almost 6 years ago now, 5.5 years, no, 6 years ago with BKB, they were the only ones. They were the only ones in the world that were doing it. Dave Feldman had been trying to do it here in the States, but kept hitting roadblock after roadblock. So they were the name. They were the only name in the game. And when I first fought for them, it was in a little freaking fairground type thing in Coventry, and it would remind you of like a local MMA type show. That's how small it was. And they started progressing and got a lot of attention. They brought Melvin Gillard, one of my homeboys. He came with me, fought over there, fought their champion, Jimmy Sweeney. Julian actually came over, Julian Lane. He came over. He actually beat Sweeney. And then I cornered him on the second one. He lost that one, but he got his jaw broke, like, I think, in the first round. And Julian kept fighting for 5 more rounds. So it was wild. But the BKB banner was the first one to be on the map. Now, after that, then you started getting the Ragnaroks and all these other guys and a couple other little promotions in the UK that's trying to start doing theirs. You've always had bare knuckle in Thailand, but always Muay Thai is a part of it. It's not just strict hands. And then obviously Dave Feldman got his up. And once Dave got his up and running, it was pretty much, it was like a Yugo and a Porsche in a race. And that Yugo had 2 laps on that Porsche. It didn't take long for that Porsche to catch up. And now the Porsche is 10 laps ahead. And there is no stop in sight. So BKFC is the premier number one. They have the most talent. And that's why, I know Mickey Terrell. Mickey Terrell is the lineal heavyweight number one, because he's been in here the longest. And he's a friend of mine. I lost him for the world title, but he's a good guy. And I wanted him to come over, and I like him as a friend, but I also want that rematch. And I think that they want to prove that he's worth it, whatever his weight gold. So he's definitely going to come over. He's definitely going to probably have 1 fight or 2 fights before he gets a title shot. But I'll tell you this: if he comes over, gets a fight, and let's say I have the belt by that time, Mickey Terrell would be the one I call out. I don't care about anybody else here in the United States. Mickey Terrell would be the one that I call out. That's who I'd want to fight with, because I don't consider myself, just as Joey, I don't think Joey considers himself the lineal champion until he would beat Mickey Terrell. But Mickey Terrell's got to do his work over here, and they know that, because we all know European fighters are different than American fighters, and he's got to come here and prove what he is. And now I can tell you right now, and none of these boys here in the States know what Mickey Terrell's bringing. I do. I think Joey Beltran knows, but I was in there. I'm the only fighter Mick hasn't been able to knock out. I got stopped because my nose got ripped off. I came kind of like the Bobo fight. I came out flat the first 2 rounds when I fought Mick. That's on YouTube. You can pull it up and look. I was in shape, felt great, came out for some reason, came out flat. By the time I woke up in the 3rd round and started really throwing, my nose was already ripped off, had a cut over my eye, and I was fighting uphill. Now the ref stopped the fight. Barrington, he stopped the fight. I think it was kind of a bullshit stoppage. I love the guy. I think it was wrong, but it is what it is. Mick gave me a boxing lesson on movement. Mick was probably 235. I think he's 6'5", 6'4", and I hit him a couple times. As soon as I hit him, Mick will tell you himself, he was like, "Yep, I don't need to do that again. I'm not going to get hit by this guy again." And Mick just started literally making me look like an amateur. I was just flat. I got into desperation mode where I'm here, boom, 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 and I'm just like
just throwing,
just throwing, and I'm running into the ropes because he's pivoting off, moving like a damn middleweight. And hey, it was a fight. It's a learning lesson. I learned. I got my ass kicked, and I learned. But like I said, there ain't nobody ever gonna drop me. And if there was somebody that could have dropped me, it would have been Mick, because he was just, that night was just levels above where I was. And and we talked after the fight and things, and Mick's just a good guy. But I think I win this belt here in the BKFC. I think Joey and I are a great fight. I think Joey beat Sam. I think I beat Mark Godbeer. I think Mark Godbeer and I is actually the real fight. I think that's going to be a bloody fucking war. I don't think Mark goes down. I don't think I mean, knock on wood, but ain't nobody ever been able to hurt me. So, I just think it's going to be a war. I think I can win that war. And, the real fight is Mark and I think Joey knows that as well. And, it's not disrespect to Sam, because Sam always seems like get the short end, but at the end of the day, Sam just doesn't have the experience, doesn't have the caliber of fights under him. And my boy Kenzie Morrison beat the holy dog shit out of him wearing 10-ounce gloves. And I just watched Sam get knocked all over the ring, and then the poor sportsmanship by him at the end, where he didn't want to touch gloves and all this. Like, I just don't put him in the same category, but he is in the top 4, so he's part of it, and he gets to fight Joey. Sorry, Sam's fighting Joey. So hey, maybe he wins, and if he does, that'd be awesome for me because I'll beat Godbeer. And I'm telling you right now, that would be a wonderful fight for me because that's a fight that I was getting ready for like 6+ months. Every time he got stopped, every time he got pulled away, you know what I'm saying? So if he's a champion, there's no one in the world that I love better to take that fucking belt from. So, but I don't think that'll happen. I think it'll be Joey. And Joey and I, Joey and I have talked, it's respect. We're both fighters. And, Joey's the king of the hill right now. And Joey is king of cardio, the Chicano king, as they say. And I put the Joey fight kind of like the Ali Foreman fight. And Joey's Ali, I'm Foreman. Joey don't have no power like that. Joey's not a power puncher. Joey is what we call a volume fighter. And being a volume fighter at heavyweight's very rare. So that's why he pretty much collapses everybody because he just never stops. So I think Tony Lopez is the only other volume fighter that I know in the heavyweight division. And when them two fought, it was like a damn war because they both have great gas tanks. And so for Joey and I think it's the old rumble in the jungle. Is it going to be? Am I going to punch myself out, or is my cardio going to be good enough to where no matter what anybody says, power changes fights. So cardio is great, but if you're getting Joey just has a style where he gets hit. Joey's got a great chin, and he's got great cardio, which makes him really a tough challenge. But at the same time, he ain't never fought no fight. He's not fighting any fighter in bare knuckle. He's never fought anyone in bare knuckle that hits the way I hit. And that is a fact. So it's that big intrigue of like that matchup. Like, okay, is Joey going to fucking take Burns to deep water and drown him? Or is Burns going to beat the dog shit out of him so much in the first few rounds that the last 2 rounds, the championship rounds, as they would say in the bare knuckle world, like is Josh going to collapse, or is Joey going to be able to pull something out of his ass and knock Burns out? You know what I'm saying? So it's just a great matchup. So, I'm really looking forward to that fight, but it's one fight at a time. So right now, as long as Sam fights Joey, I want Mark Godbeer. It makes no sense to fight anybody else. Literally, you can go down the list. And I pull Kleckler because that's the only name I can really pull up that I know that they put up in the top tier. Adam Arnold's, he was the first ever BKFC champ. I like the guy personally. He's a good dude. But he's been gone for over a year, coming off a loss and an injury. So he's going to fight Bobo. So,
I was actually getting ready to ask because I know Bobo is getting ready to fight him, and I asked him what he thought about Arnold, and it's going to be a good fight. Now, okay, say Arnold does win that fight. Is that could he be on your radar as well? I mean, how does that work? I mean,
yeah, I mean, absolutely. I mean, if he beats Bobo, now he's back in the win column. It is the first ever BKFC champion, but at the same time, when Arnold's won it, it was a very convoluted division. There wasn't a stacked division, and it was pretty much a cakewalk. Like, let's just be honest. Like, there's really nobody there for him to fight. So, and I guess he did beat Joey, but my understanding that I have never watched the fight, but I guess it was a controversial end or some shit. I don't know, but I can't speak on that because I didn't watch that fight. But if Arnold gets the win against Bobo, then yeah, he'll probably be back up in the talks again, be back up there. But again, it's going to be Arnold having to chase me because you're behind me, brother. Yeah, at the end of the day, you're behind me. So as long as I do what I say I'm going to do, take out Godbeer and go for the title, because I'm guaranteed a title fight. So I am the next guy. So, it's more of a risk, for me to actually take a fight than just wait for Sam and Joey to fight. But why would I do that? I'm a fighter. I want to fight the best. And I honestly think Godbeer. I think it goes Joey, Godbeer, myself, and then Sam. I agree with that ranking. And why not? Why not fight him? If Sam's already busy, I'm going to fight. That's who I want to fight. I mean, I've asked for it. Mark's asked for it. I mean, we both know. Like, Mark and I both know. We both know we want to fight the best. And it's a statement. Mark beats me. It's a fucking statement. Like, they better not disrespect him. He's the next. He should get the next title shot. I beat Mark. I am the next title shot. I'm the next champ. It is what it is.
And that's going to be in Miami, correct? In April?
You know what? I don't know. I can't. I'm not allowed to talk about that, but I think it's slotted for Miami. So, but I know that Miami. I know Dade County's been all kinds of issues. So I have no idea. To be quite honest, I don't know. I just know it's you know hopefully slotted for the end of April and or right in the beginning of May, and that's all I can say.
Okay, fair enough. I know. I go to the BKFC website, and they have dates and stuff.
Yeah.
Sometimes they have locations, sometimes they don't. That's why I asked.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, I'm getting ready to wrap this up. Any sponsors or anything that you want to thank anybody personally, or because I mean I know you put in a lot of work, and most journalists they don't get it, man. They don't know how it is to have a camp. They don't know how it is to have a support system. I get it. I completely get it. So of course you always want to show your sponsors and people who will help you some love. So is there anybody who you want to
Yeah, man. I mean,
shout out
just
to?
my team. I'm just mostly it's my team. Coleman, Victor Torres, Darren Clark. My strength and conditioning coach. It's the team, like you said. And I've been in a camp. I thought I was fighting in March. So if you do the math, I'm in week like 7. Week 6 of camp. And I was pulled from that card and was told by Nate Shook, he's like, "Hey, I'm just gonna let you know we're gonna put you on the April card. We're putting you on the Joey Sam card." And gave me the breakdown of what was going on. I'm like, I'm cool with that. I just keep training straight through. And these guys, trust me, with like Victor Torres and, Coleman, like they knew like that damn Sam Shoemaker fight, bro, that shit lasted like 7-8 months and never came to fruition. And we were training the entire time. I got COVID in the middle of it, got over the COVID in like, 6-7 days, tested negative 10 days, kept training. And it was a fucking wild ride. So my team is essential to me, and then obviously my girl, who's like my backbone, does everything, nobody knows who she is and behind the scenes, but does everything for me, takes all my abuse, going through camp. And, I appreciate that. This guy right here, True American Savage, my boy, Jason Riley, you might know who he is. He used to fight in Strike Force. He was a force to be reckoned with. He obviously took his life in a different direction, does all the clothing, apparel, and all that now. So it's a blessing. I'm proud of him and proud to say that he helps me out as well. Fire Savvy with Tim Blackwood and Amber. God, I'm gonna get in trouble for that one. His wife. They've always supported me this entire bare knuckle journey in the UK, because in the UK you got to imagine like you don't get sponsorships over there. Everyone knows me as a sponsorship machine, and it was really tough being able to articulate to individuals why it was important to sponsor me over there. And it wasn't about exposure as much as it was support to your American fighter. Like, this is your hometown boy, and they were flying me 15 hours out there, not really taking good care of you. In the beginning, it was okay, but about halfway through, they started just treating me like I was a British fighter because they liked me so much, quote unquote. And there's fights where I flew 15 hours, got off the plane, went to the venue, weighed in because they do same day weigh-ins there. Weighed in, went back to the fighter house, put my bags away, got an hour nap, went back to the venue and fought. Yeah, I knocked him out in 26 seconds, but they also had switched my opponent to some new guy that was like 6'5", 270 pounds, shredded, big ass white boy. And you're like, I'm looking at him like, God damn, that's a big dude. So you can see, well, you can't see it because they took all that shit down. But if they ever put it back up, you'll see, like, I go to like face off and I'm looking at him and I'm kind of like laughing, like, fuck, like this is a big motherfucker.
Okay, one more. I do got one more question because this is something I asked Bobo and he couldn't really give me a solid answer. Because I know in MMA the cutoff is at 265 from heavyweight to super heavyweight. Right. So how does that work in bare knuckles? Is it just, I mean, do they have a cutoff or how does that even work?
Nope, there should be no cutoff. The only reason I got put in the shitty position of having to be a certain weight with Sorrow is that he claimed that he walked around at 235, but he had been fighting at 205. And so basically it was just a precautionary step by Dave and Nate to say, listen, let's just make sure we're not, what I normally walk around is 275, 280. When I fought in the UK, I was fighting at 250, but I was like, 3-4 years ago. So I think my body's just changed a little bit over the past few years. And they were like, well, we don't want you to be so heavy that the commission's going to bark about it and make issues. So try to keep it within realms of 265. And so for me, and everyone's like, oh, that's only like 10, 15 pounds. But going into a camp, like if you pay attention like you do, I have strength training is a big deal. And I don't go just lift 600 pounds one time. I'm lifting. I'm the guy that goes, my benches are like, it's lightweight, 275, but I use sets of 20, 5 sets of 20. Everything I do is high intensity, high repetition for muscular conditioning. And taking that out also takes away some of my muscle density. The overall physical look, my body's going to start like reducing. So that's why I believe in that last fight, I was like, half the people, I mean, Jesus, you knock a dude out. Half the people say, oh, see, don't judge a book by its cover. You're basically calling me fat. And then the other guys are like, that look at it and go, hey, fat guy's always got a chance. I'm like, Jesus. And it's because all these people are so uneducated. They don't know who the fuck I am. They don't know that, yeah, MMA, you look at my MMA, yeah, I'm a journeyman. It is what it is. But that was a hobby. I didn't give a fuck about that. This is a passion. And literally, I'm 7-2, and all 7 of my wins are by fucking KO. Under 3 minutes. This is what I do, and it's soul crushing. To be honest with you, because you get people like they're trying to be nice. They're like, yeah, see, never judge a book by its cover. Don't talk shit to somebody like that. Like it's like, God dang. So I'm just blessed, happy that Dave's not going to do that to me no more. I can weigh what the hell I need to weigh, look the way I need to look, and feel the way I want to feel. Going into a fight. So that's that's probably the biggest thing. So yeah, so you can weigh whatever you want. I mean, shit, when Gonzaga and what's his name fought, hell, I think Bigfoot was like 280 or 290. So wow. Like boxing's boxing. There is no weight limit. After the cruiserweight division, you're unlimited. So it's just, you don't usually see 400-pound boxers in there because it's not going to be conducive to them actually lasting more than
because of cardio. Yeah, because of cardio. Okay. All right. Well, thank you so much.
No problem.
Actually, whenever you have a next fight, I'm actually gonna do a wood burning piece for you. So like, right. Yeah. So, but I'll give it to you the week of, like wherever you end up fighting at. So, good luck to you. Thank you so much for the interview. I appreciate it. You're awesome. And I guess until next time.
All right, bro. Take care. Thank you.
You too.